Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mila, you're at my book nook, and today I have my quarter two book haul. So if you don't know, as well as doing quarterly wrap-ups instead of monthly ones, I do quarterly book hauls because sometimes I don't buy anything in a month, and if I was going to do monthly ones, I wanted to make sure that I had some to talk about. So I figured I would just do quarterly ones as well because it's easier. I hope you guys like my t-shirt. My grandma sent it all the way from Russia, so thank you to my grandma. And I hope you know that I actually changed out of another t-shirt and I have the most wicked sunburn on my back and my shoulders. Like, it still hurt. It still hurts. It's been 3 days. It still hurts. So changing into this was painful. So you better like and subscribe. Anyways, I've got a whole stack of books, and mind you, this is April, May, and June, okay? Although most of it's April and May because I actually didn't buy any books in June. So let me switch to I have a little thing in my reading journal where I track the books I've bought and just like some, basic information about it. Now I have to find the page. There we go. So it looks something like this. So I've got the month. There we go. Okay, so I've got like the month and it's sort of different colors. And then I've got the title / author. I've got roughly the date, the price. Some of these are gifts, where I got them, genre, format, pages, etc. I don't fully fill this out. This is more so that I can keep track of stuff when I film these videos. So without further ado, I will try to roughly go in order. We'll just do April and then we'll do May. There are 2 books on here that I will not be showing because they're not for me. I didn't buy them for myself. I bought them for my mom, and I'm just going to get those out of the way. I bought 9 Perfect Strangers by Leanne Moriarty for my mom, and I bought Remarkably Bright Creatures, and I bought those for her birthday, I think? Yeah, because it was in April. So I bought those for her birthday, and she read both of them, and she actually enjoyed both of them. And she also watched the Remarkably Bright Creatures movie, so it kind of all coincided because the day that I got the book for her, the trailer had come out, and then after she read it, the movie had come out. So it kind of like fit perfectly together, like a puzzle piece. And she said that the movie's cute, but she liked the book better. So that's my mom's review of Remarkably Bright Creatures. She liked 9 Perfect Strangers. She thought it was a bit too long, but she liked 9 Perfect Strangers. And the general premise was interesting. It was an interesting book. She doesn't like Nicole Kidman, so there will not be a comparative review of the TV show. She does not like Nicole Kidman. I have no idea why, but there will not be a comparative TV show and book review from my mother, so through me. But yeah, let me just real quick kind of figure out the order of these. Just give me like 2 seconds. Some of these were actually gifts from my friend Helen, and Helen lives in England, and I don't remember when I got these books. So we're just gonna put these in slightly random order. Actually, I'm gonna put these on the top because they're a little more precious. All right, so let's get to the books, I guess. I will start from the beginning of April. I will do my best to have it be in order of how I bought them. Some of them I bought like on the same day, so that's why they'll be sort of one after the other. So the first book I got in April was Homer's The Odyssey. This is the Oxford World Classics translation, and this is by Anthony Verity. And one thing about Anthony Verity's thing is that it's a poetry translation, but what he does, is it him that does it or is it Lattimore? I don't remember if actually he does this, but one of the translations is like word for word or line for line with the ancient text that we have. So yeah, I really wanted this edition. I'm going to read it, hopefully, and obviously talk about it, review it, and all that stuff. And this painting is of Circe, and I just love it. I love it so much. I just love this painting. If there's any painting I'd want on my walls, it's this one. That's definitely one I would want on my walls. So that is Anthony Verity's translation of The Odyssey, and got this secondhand. And this was, I'll tell you the prices, $9.99, so not bad. Next, this was one hell of a find. This is something that I went down a rabbit hole a couple of years ago because my dad kept mentioning this specific indigenous group called the Chukchi. And he said that we might have some, ancestors from there or whatever. My granddad's, I believe, from Siberia. My dad's Russian, for those that don't know. And so I went down this rabbit hole of Chukchi literature and Chukchi stories and sort of traditions and all that stuff. And a lot of it actually overlaps with the Inuit, which are the Arctic, subarctic indigenous group of Canada, as well as Alaska. But specifically, since I'm Canadian, we're talking about the Inuit of Canada. So I started this a while ago during my sort of research phase and stuff, but it was like, I think close to $20 on like Amazon and stuff, and I couldn't find it at Indigo or anything. Like, it was really difficult to find because it's one of those very niche books that you have to like really search for and hunt down. But this was on the shelf and I was flabbergasted. I was like, I have to get it. And that is the Chukchi Bible by Yuri. I think that's what it is in Russian. And this is basically a collection of stories from the grandfather of this author, who was the father of Chukchi literature, considered the father of Chukchi literature. Unfortunately, he's since passed, but oh well. And this is basically a collection of his grandfather's stories based on the stories of the last shaman of Yulin, who was also the grandfather of Yuri, and he was the last shaman. So yeah, very excited to get through this. It's a really funky format. Like, it's a really weird format. Like it's definitely not a normal format. It's very wide. So I don't know. And I got this for $6. Or $6.99? $6.99. And it says here, actually, it's originally $16 Canadian. And it's funny because it also says that it's $16 US. That rarely happens. That, like, never happens. Anyways, next... Oh, that was also secondhand, by the way. Next, we have Peter the Great's African Experiments in Prose by Alexander Pushkin, edited by Robert Chandler. And this is an NYRB classic. Yeah, I love these editions. I think they're so fun. And these are just like a bunch of Pushkin's stories and stuff. And the Peter the Great's African is specifically based on his maternal great-grandfather. So Pushkin, Alexander Pushkin, the father of Russian poetry and literature, was also African. He was black. Obviously, it's like, 3 generations back. But his great-grandfather was sent to the Tsar at the time, Peter the Great, and as a slave. And Peter the Great was like, what is this? What do you mean? Why are you sending me a child as a slave? And he freed the slave, whose name was Ibrahim, or no, his name wasn't Ibrahim. The great-grandfather's name was something else, probably. But he freed the slave, and he became very close with the slave, with, the great-grandfather. And they became very close. He became a close confidant. And I think he went on to become like a general of some kind. So he was educated and, given a really good life in Russia. And so Pushkin decided to write a story based on his maternal great-grandfather. So I'm very excited. And this name, Robert Chandler, as well as Elizabeth Chandler, will pop up a little later as well. So that is Peter the Great's African, also secondhand. And I got this for... Oh, I've been looking for this one everywhere. Like, I've been looking for Pushkin books everywhere. I got this for... Oh, it doesn't say. Oh, you know why it probably doesn't say? It probably doesn't say because there's probably a sticker on it and I took the sticker off. So there's that. Sorry, my books are falling apart. Okay, anyways, I'm going to talk about this arc next. So I got Witch Daughter by Tanaz Bathina, and this is a retelling of the story of Princess Takhmina from the Shahnameh. And basically, there's this story in the Shahnameh, which is the Persian Book of Kings, which is like the Odyssey, Iliad combination, but make it Persian kind of situation. It's this grand book with 3 specific ages. Ask me how I know. And this one is specifically in the Mythic Age, where it follows a bunch of Persian heroes, basically. And we follow Rustam and Sohrab, and she falls in love with Rustam, And then she gives birth to Sohrab, who is Rustam's son. But to Rustam and Sohrab, this is not a spoiler. This is known, okay? This is known in the book. This is literally on the back. It's not a spoiler, okay? Even if you don't know the story, it's not a spoiler. And so they meet on the battlefield, and it has a tragic ending. And Tahmina is, in this one, I think, more of a, I guess, witch figure where she can tell, I guess, the future, or she comes to understand the future, which is that Sohrab and Rustam are going to meet on battle at opposite sides, and a tragedy will befall her son, and it talks about the lengths that a mother will go to save their child. So I'm very excited for this. Please look out for a vlog potentially and a review for this. So I think this will be a favorite for sure. I'm very excited for this. Not sure how I feel about the cover. Don't know if I like the cover that much. Oh my god, it has the oh wait. Sorry, I'm just like actually looking at the thing. Oh my god, this is gorgeous. Sorry. Anyways, I'm really excited for this. So this is an arc, and thank you to Grand Central. They actually, this is the first time it has ever happened to me. They DM'd me, which is so wild. They DM'd me, and they're like, hey, we saw you wanted a copy of The Witch Daughter. Can we send you a copy of The Witch Daughter? And they sent me a copy of The Witch Daughter. Usually I have to go and email them or ask them, you know? They sent me a copy of The Witch Daughter. I'm still shocked about it. So thank you to Grand Central for sending me a copy. Next, we have, after that rambling, next we have The Antiquarian's Object of Desire by India Holton. This is actually a gift. This was a birthday gift from my dear friend Aisha, and so funny. Conversation leading up to her pre-ordering. This was so funny. I don't really do pre-orders, so like it's not really a thing that I ever figured I do. You know, it's just I don't do it. I'd rather just like read it on Kindle or get it from the library. But she pre-ordered this for me because we were both really excited, and I actually read an e-arc of it. So when she pre-ordered, I had actually read the book, and I said I really enjoyed it. And she's like, "Oh my god, I gotta buy this before Angelo does." My boyfriend's Angelo, by the way. Look enemy number one. Yeah, so she kindly pre-ordered this for me, and she got it for me, and she brought it during one of my shifts, and I was, mind you, this came out like a month before my actual birthday, so because this came out in April, but I was very happy to receive it, and this cover is gorgeous. Like, look at that. Sorry guys, I'm dealing with weird lighting issues, so please don't mind it. Like, I don't know, it's kind of cloudy, but it's also kind of sunny, but it's not reaching me fully. But anyways, this cover, I'm obsessed with this cover. And yeah, so this one was really fun. This basically follows best friends turned fake enemies, and they fall in love, and they're antiquarians. So yeah, it was a fun time. I really enjoy India Holton's writing, especially in this series. She has a very dry British humor vibe to it. So I pitch it as the narrator voice from My Lady Jane. It's like that dry British. That's what plays in my head. But yeah, and yeah, it's really funny. It's really fun. I have a good time every time. Next, we have the only movie tie-in cover I think that I actually have, and that is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. So if you don't know me, I've watched Project Hail Mary 3 times since its release. I watched it the second week, I think, of its release, or the first week of its release with my friend Aisha. And then I watched it with my family that Sunday. So we watched it on like a Thursday, I think. And then we watched it on the Sunday. I watched it on the Sunday with my family. And I took my boyfriend to see it in IMAX. And he had no idea where we were going. I said, let me plan the day. And so I took him and I surprised him with IMAX tickets, and he said he really liked it, and it was a really fun time, and that he wants to read it as well. So I got this one. It's a little beat up, but for the price that it was, it was $16.99, which is diabolical because that's half the price, because in Canada it's $30. So the only movie tie-in edition you will ever catch me having is one with Ryan Gosling's face on it. Also, funny thing about my glasses. Funny thing about my glasses. I'm just gonna spend the rest of the video, you know, like this. No, I'm not. I can't see the camera. I can't see anything without my glasses. So yeah, funny enough, I did actually buy glasses that were very similar frames to his. So mind you, I don't pull it off as well as he does, but hey. Anyways, that's that. Next, we have a trunker. This is a repeat, if you know, you know, and that is The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas in this Union Square & Co. signature edition. This is a translation. I think this is like the 18th century translation, like a general translation. I'm not sure because it doesn't say. It doesn't say which translation this is. Literally does not. It barely says anything. Oh, the book was published in 1846 and reflects the attitudes of its time. The publisher's decision to present it as it was originally published is not intended as endorsement of any offensive cultural representations or language. I feel like they should have, you know, teamed up with Penguin Classics and chosen the Robin Buss edition because that translation is fantastic. Let me show you my copy of my original copy. If I end up not liking this translation, which would be unfortunate because I went to great lengths to acquire this translation, I may just buy another copy of the Penguin one, and I may just reread it like that because that is a plan that I have. But yeah, so hopefully I like this one. What I read from it was I really enjoyed it. It didn't seem too difficult to understand, and didn't seem too different from the Robin Buss translation, but again, it's been like a year, so I may not remember all of it. And lastly, for April, we have Mikhail Bulgakov's Master and Margarita. This is the Penguin Classics translation, and this is translated by Richard Pevear and Larisa Volokhonsky with an introduction by Richard Pevear. And yeah, this is The Devil Comes to Moscow. There's a talking cat, I think. Yeah. And he causes havoc. I love when the devil comes to a city and causes havoc. So I'm very excited to read this. This has been on my radar for a while. I do have another copy of it. I might read that one, but we will see. I will chat with you about it, obviously, probably in a reading vlog or something. This was our March MSBC Classic, I think. I think it was March. That sounds about right. But yeah, Master and Margarita, very, very excited for this. So that is that for April books. And now we have May books. And I'm going to start with these quite fragile ones. Ooh, this is very fragile. Yikes. I've got The Woman of Rome by Alberto Moravia. I've got this cool Penguin Books edition. And I've got Greeks and Trojans by Rex Warner. And I don't really know much about either of these, and there's not much that it... Oh, bookmark. My friend Helen's gonna be like, what? So I don't know much about these. I'm guessing... Oh, this is about, obviously, the Greeks and the Trojans, so the Trojan War. And this, on the other hand, I actually have no idea what it's about. But I'm going to read this, but I'm going to read this probably on my Kindle just so that I don't ruin this. This powerful modern novel, translated from the Italian, is a story told entirely in the first person of a young prostitute. Adriana, a daughter of a seamstress living in a Roman slum, is a beautiful, affectionate, passionate girl who, after being seduced by a chauffeur, lives with a succession of men and yet maintains the courage and dignity of her own nature. The scene is Mussolini's Rome, and against this background of squalor and cynicism, the novelist has painted the figure of a dauntless, fascinating personality. So, this is, I imagine, a World War II art novel, and I'm pretty stoked to try this one out. So I'm going to just set these to the side so I don't ruin them further. I'm just going to put them here. Next, we have a book, so I'm going kind of backwards. Next, we have a book that my boyfriend kindly got for me on my birthday. We went out and we went to a bunch of bookstores, and this is the only book I got, surprisingly. And that is The Heart of the Naga by Lee Young-do, translated by Anton Her, and this is the cover. And I was very excited because this actually came out on June 2nd, but I saw it at the bookstore on May 31st, which is my birthday. So he kindly got it for me, and I looked at the price and I was about to sit down. He's like, no, don't worry about the price. So please clap in the comments and say thank you, Angelo, because he is amazing, and I'm very excited for this. I don't know much about it, actually. I just know that it is the first book in a Korean fantasy series, and apparently this is a very beloved series and a very popular one, and I am very excited because this just seems so interesting, and the cover is so interesting, and I feel like every time I look at it, I find out something new. Like, what? Like, this is crazy. I love this. Why is there a giant man just standing there? Yeah. Very excited for this. I will get back to you on when I read this. Next, we have, I told you Robert Chandler is going to come back in this, and that is Russian Magic Tales from Pushkin to Platonov, and this is an older Penguin classic. Although for some reason, there's like this film on the cover, and it's like coming off. I don't know if you can see that, which is quite annoying actually, but this is the cover, and this covers a bunch of like stories, Pushkin and Platonov obviously, and just kind of everyone in between, I guess. And so I am writing a middle grade Russian fantasy book, and I wanted to sort of tackle a bit of the stories and incorporate it into my story, so I figured that would be a good one to have. Next, we have Helen. If you're watching this, skip to the next book. And that is the Red Fairy book, edited by Andrew Lang. This is what it looks like. This is a secondhand book, and this is specifically has a bunch of books, a bunch of stories from French, German, Danish, Russian, and Romanian sources. And I thought that since she obviously has a lot of, more access to like the English and Celtic stories, figured that she might want the lesser known ones. And I just like that it's a Red Fairy book. So the cover's nice, and there's Cachet the Deathless. So yeah, and yeah, I have to erase the price, but yeah, I hope she's excited to get this. Yeah, so that is the Red Fairy book. I'm not going to tell you the price because my friend Helen might watch this. Speaking of Helen, this is another book from my dear friend Helen, and that is Helen of Troy by Bettany Hughes. I actually requested this one because she asked me, what book do you want me to get? And I said that I am really interested in reading Helen of Troy by Bettany Hughes. I'm not going to say the tagline because I don't want to get in trouble, but this is a nonfiction about Helen of Troy that is really difficult to find in Canada. Not that it's generally easy to find ancient history nonfiction in general, but you think that someone as popular as Bettany Hughes, it would be easier. I do have her 7 Wonders of the Ancient World, which I do want to read, so there's that. But Helen of Troy is a nonfiction I've been wanting to very much read, and has just like a bunch of photos, like, the usual kind of stuff as far as nonfiction kind of goes and all that good stuff. So very excited to read this. This is really stiff, so I fear there will be some spine breaking. Book spine breaking. Next we have a book I'm kind of nervous because I kind of flew over the initial hype of like the author and the series that she's written. It seems like she's written 1,000,001. But I guess that's what people feel like when it comes to Brandon Sanderson, because it also feels like he's written 1,000,001 series, but it's actually not that difficult to kind of figure out. And same with Miss Cassie Clare, and I got Clockwork Angel, The Infernal Devices. And the funniest thing about this is that I found a hardcover copy of this, and then I was like, oh, I don't want a hardcover, and then I found a softcover copy, and I think Angela got it for me, and I texted him. I was like, do you remember? He doesn't. Do you remember whether or not I got this book with you, and roughly when? Because I was trying to sort of separate it by like month, right, to make it easier for myself. He's like, I don't know. I just had to look down the page because I actually am better at keeping track of the books that I've bought and books that have been given to me than I thought. So Clockwork Angel. Excited and also a little terrified. But hey, the font is really big. So, and yeah, okay, I can definitely do this. I can do this. Okay. That is A Clockwork Angel. Next, we have two books that are part of the same series, and also books that my boyfriend got me. And that is Rusalka by C.J. Cherry and Chernivok by C.J. Cherry. So I actually have a paperback version of this one already. It's like a smaller, it's so cute. It's such a cute version. Like, it's mass market paperback. It's so tiny. Look at this. It's like literally the size of it's like a bit bigger than my hand. And it's stinking adorable. So yeah, so I got that. And that was also one, I think that was another one that my boyfriend got me. Anyways, but he also got me these two because we went to the bookstore rereading and I saw these on the shelf, and I was just thinking of getting like this one. Sorry, I'm just making sure that I have enough time to film this bit. And he's like, oh no, get both. So yeah, he got me both. So yeah, so this is basically a series of, it's a trilogy, and it's set in like old Russia, so to speak, and I'm very excited to read these. So yeah, that is Rusalka and Chernihiv. This is, what is it called? Russian. I don't remember what the series is called actually, but these are like seriously out of print. So very excited to have gotten these two. Anyways, so that's that. Those are all the books that I've bought in the second quarter. Again, this is mainly April and May. I didn't really, not that I really remember, but that's that. Let me know what books you've bought in the second quarter, in April, May, June, or whatever. And as usual, comment your thoughts down below. Like, comment, subscribe, follow me on all my socials. I'm more active on Instagram. Sort of, I guess, kind of, it depends. Follow me on my TikTok and my Substack as well, because I'm getting more active there. And I will, as usual, see you in the next one. And as always, happy reading.